I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grieving. Put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah.
I've been doing this, I'm on it, I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it, you know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic, keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy, the enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me, I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this, freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus, living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it, go on and take your aim, yeah.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grieving. Put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
When we get to the FBI, we don't know who did the work. You heard that any of that information is redacted. We don't know who did the work. It's a giant secret. We know that by the time the FBI gets involved, the profile, the text file, that's a snip to use to try to identify somebody is more than twice as big when it gets to the FBI from Othram. We don't know how.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
What is going on, Hive? Good to see everybody. I was singing that out loud. I'm like, oh man, I wonder if the stream's going to start right as I'm saying welcome to the Freak Show, the best in town. Ha ha ha. Oh man, it is good to be here with everybody. I hope you all had a great weekend. I have quite a bit of Hive Mind finds. I think that in addition to doing the Hive Mind roundtables on the last Sunday of every month, I think Sundays I'm going to really go hard on the Hive Mind finds, especially with the recent security footage being released. It's a good time to do that. I don't know if I've ever been sent more emails in my life than I've been sent the last few days. So thank you all who have sent Hive Mind Find in. I am doing my best to get through all of them. Who do we all have tuning in? I see the first one that just popped up on my screen is from New Zealand. Love that. Welcome. New Hive member here. Y'all have the coolest little community. Well, I appreciate that, Isabel. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. What's going on, Aurora? Happy Sunday. Glad y'all are here. I'm glad you're here, Aaron. Who else do we got? Dina says, hello, Birdie and Mrs. Birdie. Let's go. Doms, I got to tell you, last night, I experienced my first ever flash flood in Milwaukee. Holy hell. We were at the Brewer game. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And I'll actually show some pictures later. But yeah, there were some people in the Discord that were asking if we're all right. Yes, we got out of there probably within an hour. Otherwise, my truck would have been floating and probably totaled. So anyways, yeah, it was a fun time. What's going on, Robin? ATL Drew 767. Man, that seat upgraded username. I love it. I love it. Belinda, Texas in the Hive. Mrs. Birdie says, what's up? Bag of D's says Hive with the flame. Love that. LFG, Chantilly Lace with the RBF. Whoops. I rhymed that with LFG instead. My bad. The UK, Cheerio. Dawn, what's going on? I feel like I should start calling you like Discord Dawn. Kathy, what's up? Georgia girl. Crime Spy. Oh, man. Where's everybody else tuning in from here? We got Sin City, Copenhagen, Denmark, British Columbia, the Down Under Hive, East Auckland, another UK. What's going on, Sharon? And it is awesome to see how far and wide the Hive is stretching. That is awesome. I'm just going to keep putting them up, reading them off. New York City, Georgia, Texas. Creeping in basement at Berdino's. Tooth Sleuts says, what's up to Mrs. Birdie? New Zealand again. Wow. Arkansas, Scotland, Dirty South, California, San Francisco Bay Area, North Texas, Isle of Man, Wisconsin, Charleston, Cali, Louisiana. My dad's company, back when he was working, was in Shreveport, Louisiana. It was called, I can't even remember the name of it. We almost had to move there when I was in 8th grade, but we didn't. Portugal, Iowa. Your intro puts me in my feelings. Appreciate your work. Well, thank you for tuning into the Hive, G. Vinar. I hope that's how I say it, or you say it. Colorado, Chattanooga. And I'll end on this one, Ricky. Always chilling in the air conditioner. If you guys have noticed, since I got that Wi-Fi transmitter antenna thing that I plugged in, there hasn't been nearly as many lags. So I'm hoping that continues. But without further ado, let's get into this. And I think that what we got planned for tonight is going to spark a lot of good conversation, a lot of questions. I'm going to try to pay close attention to the chat tonight. So fire in the questions or your thoughts or comments or opinions. If you're new to the Hive, just know that this is a contrarian thinking live stream. It's based in conspiracy theories, but it's with receipts. So we look into things, we question it in real time. Everything that you hear me saying, I'm reacting to in real time. My screen is always shared. And in the Hive, we don't care if we disagree or have different opinions. That is what this stream is for. And so far, it has been absolutely incredible to see the ideas and the thoughts and just stuff that's come out of the Hive make its way around, and you end up coming up with being able to piece together quite the theory, as we've been doing with the theme of tonight, which is the time delta, I believe, is officially cracked. So shout out to Pav, shout out to Sherlock, shout out to so many people that have dug into that now. Unbelievable work, everyone. Great job. And I think that this is going to lead to an evidence integrity nightmare. It's going to have Bill Thompson, Brett Payne, everyone. It just doesn't hold up. And a lot of people have asked, okay, well, what does the delta mean for the case? Like, if you were in court, what would you say? How would it affect it? And I think that we're going to get into that tonight, because that's a great question. How does it affect the case? So, as a reminder, everybody, I'm on Substack, Discord. Click subscribe on my channel. Then click the more button. I got all my links right there. Everything, including this stream, is completely free. I'll never charge for a stream. And if you do want to stay up to date and chime in off stream, those are the links to be able to do it at. I put a Substack article out on Monday and Thursdays. So tomorrow I will be dropping another one. Soph reads things, asks from the Discord question today, if you could interview 4 people from this case, who and why and what would you ask? So this is a great question for the Hive as well to answer in the chat, and I'll put some up on the screen. I have my 4, I guess you could say, are fairly simple, right? Steve G, the surviving roommates, Brett Payne. I think those would be my 4. If I were to combine the surviving roommates, then I'd probably honestly want to talk to the DoorDash driver. I think it'd be very interesting to have a conversation with Molly. What about you? Oh, Murphy. Yeah. If the dog could talk. Brian, of course. Yeah, that's a given. That's a given. I agree. The Discord is great. Yeah. I mean, honestly, throwing Murphy into the mix, I mean, I don't think it's unrealistic that in our lifetime, we'll probably have the technology to communicate with our pets. If you can't already, you ever seen those videos where the dogs are pressing the buttons? I've actually heard that it makes the dogs very depressed. Is that true? Where like the dogs learn the buttons to communicate? I've heard that it's not good for their mental health. But again, how do we know that? How do we know as humans that a dog's not happy? A dog is probably thrilled that it can press a button that says treat, park, walk. You want to go on a walk? And if anybody's got dogs right now and I'm on their TV or they heard that, I apologize. Their dog's head's probably just like doing that puppy tilt, like, huh? All right. So those would be my 4 that I would answer. Now, going into the Hive Mind Finds, I'm very, very excited for these because I have quite a bit of them. This is just kind of trippy. It says, this was a comment that somebody screenshotted and sent it to me. And it said, you should check out the eerie synchronicities between Idaho 4 and Amityville Horror. Both crimes committed on November 13th. 1974 was Amityville, and Idaho 4 on November 13th, 2022. Amityville committed around 3 a.m. at 112 Ocean Ave. Idaho 4 committed around 4 a.m. at 1122 King Road. There were 6 people home in Amityville and Idaho 4. Both homes had a 3rd level, and people were killed on the 2nd and 3rd levels of the home, and the crimes were committed as everyone slept. This all led to a media circus, movies, books, and lots of unanswered questions as to why and much more. Damn, that is trippy. I didn't know there was that many. As I started reading it, I'm like, holy hell. That's a lot. Sorry, my phone was a little bit messed up there. So I thought that was just interesting. I wanted to share that. And thank you to whoever screenshotted and sent me that. So this, I have to give a shout out to Crime Matrix 1122 for this video. Somebody had sent me this. I think it was Eve sent me this. And we're going to watch this. Pretty crazy.
But if you want to make one, you can. We got 2 minutes left. There's more sheets. There's even help.
So that goes a little bit quick, so I'll read it. So the girls left at 1:52:30 a.m. The girls arrive around 1:58, 1:59 a.m. No footage approaching 1122 King Road. Why? More lies, more cover-ups. Olivia said she seen them come home at the 1:56 and walk into the house. Do you guys think that that noise was dubbed in so that you don't hear them come home? Or what do you think that would be? Because it just seems like it's the loudest white noise, random static of all time. So I thought that was interesting for sure. Thank you to who sent me that. And again, that was Crime Matrix video. Okay. Catherine sent me this. And this is only available at not available. After catching up on your stream about Kaylee's final timestamp, I just flicked on TikTok and I saw only available, not available video. And he said he shows the top window signal. I didn't notice this in your stream. Not sure if you picked up on it. Just thought I'd tell you as you hadn't already noticed. Cheers. Keep up the good work. So here it is.
They speed up the time, and most people would not realize that someone is leaving that house at 3 a.m. 33 and 33 seconds. The same time Dylan Martinson uploaded that picture on her VSCO. Look at the window at the top side. See the difference? Something is going on behind that window, and one person is clearly visible at the window at the downside right now. Possible to give a signal to the driver of the car brighter than the sun, so he stops and made a 3-pointer possible back to 1122 King Road. But that car could also be the undercover Ford Fusion car, visible on the Banfield bodycam footage with Mr. Saeed and the 3 fraternity members of Alpha Kappa Lambda. Right here, this building across the Banfield, with the white apartments where I found the red fluid in a specific area without trace to another area of the plastic sheet, and here is 112 King Road.
I always think only available at not available puts out like really thought-provoking videos. So thank you, Catherine, for sending that. I did not notice that before. So okay. This is really interesting. And this is from Vanessa. First, I would like to thank you for all of your hard work and time and dedication to this. I believe soon the true culprits will be caught and the 4 victims can have the true justice they deserve. I was rewatching the Banfield body cam video again, and I caught something being said that is important. If you go to the video extended body cam put out by Law and Crime Network and fast forward to the video timestamp 1309 or time of day is 306:46, you can hear one of the frat boys whisper, "She's right there." At 306:49, another one says, "Where?" And at 306:53, the first one says, "She's being moved." It is whispered, but if you turn the volume up, you cannot miss it. They appear to be looking at the white apartments through the trees and the release documents. An officer stated there was blood found there. So I did one. I screen recorded it to see if I could hear it better. So I did the first one of 306:46. So I will play that. But first, I just want to say also thank you to Witchy and Wit James. Camera next door at house broke chain of custody many times in the first 340 documents released. They kept installing and uninstalling the camera, and the owners were viewing it at the same time as officers. Well, I mean, what do you expect? I feel like the chain of custody, it's been on the up and up. You're a conspiracy theorist. That's probably exactly what the procedure recommends you follow. We're going to install it, then we're going to uninstall it, and then somebody can remote view it as they're in Boise for a few days, and they're not going to be back until, however long, and I'll just walk over there and I'll screw it in myself and I'll replace it. And I'm sure that that's exactly what they teach in investigative school. It's remarkable. It's crazy. So, all right, I'm going to play this clip. This is one where you just need to hear it. So you don't necessarily need to see it, but it'll happen. I'll play it a couple times. Oh, hang on. I got to turn that shit up. Sorry, Hive. Mobby. Let me turn this up real quick. I forgot to do it on here. All right. Volume warning. You guys hear it? For sure kind of sounds like it. It does sound like that. Now, I couldn't get the other one screen recorded, so I do believe that Vanessa is 100% right, that there is whispering. That was the only one that I could hear relatively clearly, so that's why I just screen recorded that part, so we don't got to keep clicking around all the way through it. But I'm going to pull up that video, and at least we can listen to the full timestamp that she says, because it goes just for, I don't know, 20 seconds. So here's the full thing. But that one's probably going to sound the best because I was able to get the background noise down a little bit. So, all right, 346 or 306:40. All right. And I believe this is the first timestamp. So 1 second. 306:46 and boom. All right. Listen to this all. Where? Right. That's weird. And they're looking back towards the whites, the apartments. I mean, that's so weird. I mean, I remember when we were all kind of talking about how, like, Is the Banfield important? Is it not? A lot of people were very heavy set on like, oh yeah, the Banfield, it's very important. Some people were like, I don't know. Same thing with the grub truck. Well, now when we find out about the time delta, everything looks like a way different, or everything you can look through in a different lens now that makes you go back and question like, oh shit, like did we miss anything now that we know that? So little things like that. I mean, that's a great catch, Vanessa, on picking up on that. I don't know how you heard that. I could barely hear it and I was looking for it, but you definitely hear something. Now, I want to give a shout out to Ample Spark from the Discord. I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen here. If you guys want to screenshot this is of the security footage. This is each site and the passes that it does. So Ample Spark, thank you for this. I'll put the comments off if you guys want to screenshot that. It's a good reference mark, and it goes through, you know, when it passes Walenta, when it arrives, the Linda Lane, then it leaves, and then Walenta. So it's the full pass. This is awesome. And it's very, very interesting because, oh, Ample Spark said she just sent through a better version. I'll pop in the Discord. Okay, that's fine. Well, for the time being, until I get the other one up, if you guys wanted to screenshot that one, go for it. But thank you, Ample Spark. You did that extremely quick, and thank you for sending it. But I kind of want to take a second here and talk with you guys about this, because don't these passes seem very odd that they vary so much in time? And maybe that's a bad take. Maybe that's like, well, no, that would make sense if they're on patrol. Maybe sometimes they see something, sometimes they don't. But it just seems odd. Like it goes from 3 minutes and 30 or 3 minutes and 3 seconds, 2 minutes and 50. I mean, that's close. 5:29, but then obviously 16:46. That's when they're doing the 3-point turn in the Linda Lane. You know, I don't know what to make of the routes of the car. I mean, I think that it is the patrol, like we heard from the police reports, and as we know, that is the Fusion. It's the plainclothes police officer. But I just don't understand how there's still people that can't wrap their heads around it with the Delta, with the documents. And I'm not going to rant about that, but now is a really good time to ask, what does that Delta really mean for the case? And I saw that a lot in like the YouTube comments a lot. And I do think it's worth talking about, because I would be curious, like, what does that mean in court? Like, it discredits it, or does it discredit evidence? Does it change the fact that you can prove out that it wasn't Brian Koberger? Is the Delta going to sway a jury completely? Sherlock said, Bertie, read my post just now. All right. I will do that. Pulling it up now, Sherlock. Oh my God. Hey, yeah, let me go over here. Let me put myself on the other side. Oh man. All right. Hey, dumbass. This is Sherlock Rome's post, everybody. Let me get that disclaimer. Let me put my disclaimer up on the bottom here. So, hey, dumbass ho Viv. The Banfield body cams were fabricated and subtracted exactly 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds. That's why subtracting 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds from, that's why 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds from the state's Koberger crime time window, 4 a.m. to 4:20 a.m., 32 seconds, yields the true crime window, which is 2:52 a.m., 34 seconds to 3:13 a.m. and 6 seconds. Kaylee's phone went silent forever precisely at or I'm sorry, at 2:52 and 34 seconds. I'm trying to make the font bigger. Yeah, ding dong. Dumpster guy appears at the dumpster at 3:14 a.m. Only takes 1 minute to get there from the crime scene. The end of the true crime window also. Yeah. Until they change it the following year to 4:21 and 26 seconds. A delta of exactly 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds. Once again, need more proof? All the missing time cut out of dumpster cam at 4 a.m. hour is exactly 7 minutes and 26 seconds. Need more? When Officer Rosie and Tisdale were questioned about why they didn't work a full 8-hour overtime shift, that night they lied, claiming in the FBI report that their shift only lasted 6 hours, 52 minutes, and 34 seconds. Adding 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds to that, a full 8-hour shift. Is that still not enough for you? I think of like the original Happy Gilmore with like Bob Barker when he's like fighting him. He's like, have you had enough or whatever? I don't know. You guys know the part where him and Happy box on the golf course. That's what I think of when I say still need more proof. When Officer Rosie and Tisdale go back to their Ford Fusion car and shut off the body cam at 3:16:06, their vehicle never shows up passing the 1320 residential camera at 3:17 a.m. The body cam, if the body cam time was correct, we should see their car drive past that cam at that time going that direction. They claimed that they took that road to deal with an incident where someone sold a street sign. Well, when you add 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds to that, you can see them passing that cam to go get the sign stealer at exactly 4:24:44, because when police fabricate a timestamp, it creates a lie that cascades out of control and leads to several more lies, all of which need to also be faked by the same arithmetic time frame, girl. 1 hour, 7 minutes, 26 seconds. The math doesn't change just because you're a liar. Arithmetic is not a conspiracy theory. It's just grade school arithmetic. Moscow police suck at cover-ups. Sorry, not sorry. They aren't nearly as clever as they think they are, and neither are you. So even though he finally admits the body cams were the correct time, he's still trying to claim that they have an hour and 7 minute and 26 step discrepancy. Get the fuck out of here. Just admit there's no discrepancy. Oh, geez. Is this from fucking... That's what you meant by Viv? Christ. Well, I don't think arithmetic is a conspiracy theory either. And at a certain point, I think that people just choose to not believe it. So that is well written, Sherlock, and way to say it with your chest and stand up for the hard work that you've been doing. That's important. You know, even if you're wrong, Sherlock, which I do not think that you are. There's not any bit of me that thinks you're wrong. But even if you were, you realize that you can still like hold your head up high, that you put together a very, very comprehensive theory that pieces a lot of shit together that didn't make sense. So again, great work on all that. Okay, this is one of the craziest audios I've ever heard. Now, Outcast does really great audio work. I've never seen a video from Roz Knight Squeeze the Quo. This video was posted 2 hours before I ended up going on live today. And somebody sent me, it said, Birdie from Roz Knight, a very good video, 1 to 2 a.m. at dark hour. Thanks. And absolutely, Dan Smith, Sherlock is extremely bright. And so this is pretty crazy. I'm going to start at 9 minutes and show you guys a couple minutes of this. And then if you guys want to watch the full thing, obviously go to her channel or their channel. Let me just paste it in here. Okay, so this is a quadrant, and she explains it, but it pretty much each quadrant does something different with the audio, so you will pick up different things. Like the way that she was explaining it was, you know, with this filter or whatever settings that she has, you'll hear this part a little bit more clear, and then with that one, you'll hear something, you know, so on and so forth. You guys get the point. But I'm just going to shut up and I'll let this play because this is crazy. It's very crazy.
So this one we'll start with the final that I just did today. I just uploaded it and did nothing to it except for just raise the loudness and normalization. All right, so you do hear that, like a fence, like a chain fence or a metal fence of some sorts being opened, and you hear very lightly someone say thank you. You hear that fence being opened and closed a couple of times throughout. We're hearing the beginning of the fight where they sing that song. You hear the like the fists, them hitting each other. And I don't know if you picked up on it, but I heard it. She sucked his dick.
Wait,
so,
what? I didn't hear that. Did you guys hear that?
You're going to hear that a lot in the beginning. It's said a lot.
So she, just so you know too, she goes through each quadrant. So we're going to hear this 4 different ways. So I don't have to go back. You're just going to hear it with different audio filters each time, which is awesome.
And you hear certain people talk about how she did that, and they're really pissed about it. So here is the one that I put together. And I edited it. I did a lot of different things. I went on a journey. So here is this version. And that Wake Me Up, it's loud in some and it's not as loud in others because of the balance. Okay, so you heard some more.
It is crazy how clear that sounds.
And I'm that guy. So what, dude? So what? Who cares? I think the people who care the most are the ones who feel left out. You just wish it was you. So here is the final, but with the reverb has changed. I changed it. Okay.
Damn, that sounds like.
And then here's the last one. So this is 1 a.m. So this was.
I'm gonna just stop that real quick. I'm gonna let it continue to play. I have a thought on that, and I don't know if this is way off base, but I could see, like, if you were out drinking and at a party, and let's say that girls were fighting because somebody hooked up with somebody, and it's a big deal, right? And if they start yelling at each other, I could see guys, like frat guys, trying to be funny, that they're really referencing like it's just a drunk fight. So they start singing, Country Road, the Take Me Home, meaning like they're too drunk, they need to go home. I don't know. That's like my thought. Like, are they trolling? Are they singing that loud as kind of, a funny way to be like, yeah, everyone's just like effed up right now and like the night's over. They're fighting because of it. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's where my head goes. Is like I could see guys seeing the girls kind of chirp each other about it and then start singing to try to be funny about it.
I did this back in, I'm going to say early July. And I just left it the way it is and did. So this one, I just used the RX11, the repair assistant. So I did different versions of different tools that I used. And then I just added the gain and then pumped up the volume. All right. And you heard more of the fight in that aspect too. So now we're hearing the fight in the background and the conversation that's happening. I want to say it's around the group that we're singing that song. Now I saw on Bubbly that someone noticed that there was 2 fights going on at the same time, which you're going to hear that as we go further. I was thinking that there was 2 fights when I was first listening to this. I don't know if it was 2 different fights or if it was an echo. They were just echoing each other if there was a delay, but I was leaning more towards there's 2 different fights. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but they also mentioned that Fat Joe was there, and it makes total sense how he got so defensive to make a TikTok saying how he was nothing to do with this case and he was not there when they were murdered.
See, I haven't seen this whole video. I started around 9 minutes because I wanted to show it, but wow. Hive, type of what, and again, please make sure you go and show Roz Knight Squeeze the Quo. Here's the username. Make sure you go show them some love. Give it a like, comment on it, subscribe, because this is the audio was unbelievably clear, and I had no intentions of continuing to watch this longer than those few minutes, just because I figured it would be something that we go by or that you can go watch it yourself, which obviously you can. But I'm very curious now after some of the comments that I've just seen in the Hive as to what is alleged. And if that is true, holy Jesus, Mother of Mary, I can't even put the words together if that's really about to come out and be said in this. Because that is a wild, wild allegation. Even for the Hive. Christ.
How would you know what time they were murdered, first of all? But to get that defensive for something that you have nothing to do with speaks volumes. Definitely projecting there. So here we go. At the beginning of this one is just one that I just uploaded today. And we'll do the next minute of 18 to 19. All right, so Jesus. I heard get some.
I heard get right.
Make it
get
right.
Right, son.
I heard David a couple times.
Yep.
You definitely hear another fight going on. A female yelling. She's definitely saying words. I want to say it gets more clear in the other ones we're going into. I just don't want to say anything because there's so many different. I've done this so many times that I don't want to say too much, but I don't want to say too less at the same time. So I'm really having you listen for yourself. So you heard more there. It definitely needs some fine tuning where you hear Ethan's name being said more. Definitely you hear Reed's name being said more there in the other fight that's going on.
I feel like I hear like a girl and say, "Get the fuck out!" Like she's saying it with her whole chest. That's what I kind of hear. Like it's in the background of the other noise.
So between 17 and 18 minutes, we have heard a lot of new, well, for me, it's a lot of new information compared to the last time that we went through this. And now let's go through 18 and 19.
Yeah, dude, crafts and crime. Great point. No one on the street called the cops for a fight. And I'm not saying that, but with how pesky the cops have been with noise complaints during the day at house parties for music, this goes unanswered or not called on. A full ass, what sounds to be a brawl outside. And not just like shit talk yelling. Like this sounds like, you know what people are like, redlining mad. This sounds like redlining, like straining themselves to talk shit loud. There's a distinct difference. And you guys know what I mean. That's crazy. It's sure like, yeah, over 40 houses right next to it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Oh, man.
All right, so we heard more in that.
Hang on. Carrie, this can't be fake audio. There's no way. I don't know how you would even fake audio in the background. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not like going at you. There's no way. There's so much white noise. There's so many filters applied to it to clear that up after this long. I mean, I don't believe that it's fake. I believe that this is 100% real. Absolutely.
As well. This investigation and being investigated, I hear that a lot throughout even the first like 5 minutes in the beginning. But there was some type of investigation done. And now more people are being investigated because of something that had happened. And I think we're going to hear that in the beginning. My timing's off a little bit. But I definitely heard about investigating. They're out to get you.
Yeah.
And more of those two fights going on. So let's go into 19 minutes.
So, okay. I'm just going to throw this out there. Sherlock, think with me on this one. We know that the delta has to be applied at a certain time. That time that you said was 4 a.m. That's how you get the 1 minute and 16 or the 1 minute and 19 seconds. Would that apply? Could that apply pre that time? If that makes sense. Like, could this delta actually need it an hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds added to it? So this is 119. That would take you to 226. And if the girls got home, meaning Kaylee and Maddie from the food truck, I'm saying if this timestamp is off, that means that everybody would be home. No, because that would require a longer delta. Okay. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm sure you probably already thought through that. That was just, I'm thinking like if you do the delta forward
to 20.
There's a different girl there too. There's a different girl there. And I don't know whose voice that sounds like, but it comes in like it almost like you can tell that there's people there that maybe don't seem to usually hang out there.
All right, so we heard more about investigating. I want to say investigating Ethan. I'm a little rusty. So let's go into the next one. All right. So you heard more clearly there. Can we stop them? And a female say, can we stop them? And she says, no. And then you hear almost like someone's talking into like a voice changer saying Ethan's name. And I want to say Xana's name too.
What does that mean, Dan? Does my audio sound like this? I mean, I can hear it. I can hear it the most clear that I've ever been able to hear the sounds. That's for sure. If that's what you mean. Let me actually play it off my phone and see if it sounds different on the phone. Is that what you mean?
So you'll hear another walkie be used. And I know I mentioned this earlier about how we went over in Moscow Murders, how they used walkies driving home, or excuse me, from home to the university with one of the, I want to say it's Haley King. And here you can hear a little of that voice, like someone has a voice changer of some sorts. I do hear it in the beginning within the first 10 minutes. And at first, what you hear it, I hear it throughout the first 23 minutes. And at first I was thinking it was something with the software, that maybe it was cleaned too much or so on and so forth. But no, this is not that type of software, I believe. So what you hear is what you hear.
And thank you so much for these super chats. Blue-eyed Candy, you need the dispatch radio traffic from the officers at Banfield to confirm Delta. All dispatchers call it time. I was a dispatcher for 10 years. Boom. Yes, absolutely. That's a great point. I've also said too, like the citation that they write, if you could somehow track that citation down, is the time on that. And Magdalena, Lady Crimson, thank you so much for the super chat. You guys are absolutely incredible. And sorry, Gen X, I didn't see this. Did you hear about the Pacer database hack? Sealed docs and CIs exposed. What? Wow. No, I did not hear about that. I wonder if anybody's going to leak it. That'd be wild.
So, and people have been saying certain aspects about this fight and about what has happened. All right, so let's hear it with this.
whoever that Reed guy is clearly like very triggered and is escalating. It almost, you know, the girls are trying to calm down, like, Reed, stop. I mean, you listen to this a couple seconds in. That's for sure somebody walking in trying to stand on business, and they're pissed. They're pissed. You can tell for sure.
All right, so you heard that voice again. And this one is without the reverb that I use to help listen to it more clearly. This one is with the reverb that I use the reverb to help. Just overall, not that particular part, but just overall. Because as you see, it's 20 minutes. I start at the beginning of the videos when I start my editing. And I had to learn not to edit too much because then you couldn't hear anything out. It was just way too clean. I would have to really, pump up the volume and do more work, which that's not the point of the software. So you heard more of that. You heard, can we stop it? Can we stop them? And she said no. And you hear someone coaching on Ethan in that fight.
I just heard like a car unlock, kind of like the dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I heard, Emma, did you get the bag? Did you guys hear that? That's what it sounds like. It sounds like, Emma, did you get the bag?
So I wonder if that's like a loudspeaker of some sorts that everyone's hearing that. And that's why maybe that person saying, can we stop them? And she said no. But this is the area where I showed you with the DC offset, which is interference of other electronics with the software. And then you have to raise the noise floor to help offset that. So that's what makes me think it's some type of electronic that's being used when we hear that.
Wait, what did she just say? That was a great take on that. So she said,
and then you have to raise the noise floor to help offset that. So that's what makes me think it's some type of electronic that's being used when we hear that.
Wow. Great video. This is a great video. Great work.
So you hear more of the fight going on, and you hear like a low voice talking in the background, a deep voice talking about Ethan. And I haven't been able to use this tool. I just use it mildly, which is declick and declip. And what this does, this declick, is it takes away air, so to speak.
I thought that same thing too, that Demetrius sounds like he was there.
Because you need noise in order to hear information. You don't want to clean it up too much because then you're not going to be able to hear anything. You need noise because that's how sound is carried. It carries through the air with the noise. So it cleans up
now.
The sound around the voice. So hopefully, or I will eventually get to that point more, because I just did it mildly. All right, so here's the next version.
Yeah. I'm going to do a little experiment myself. I'm going to slow this down to half speed and just see if that helps a little bit. It might absolutely mess it up, but I can go back, then I'll change it to normal. I just want to see if this helps. No, that's not helping. What about 0.75? Jesus, I wish it's like right there. It's like so close. It's so close to just probably telling everything that's happening, and it's just right there. It's just out of reach, I feel like, to be able to understand it.
Went too far. So there you hear the other walkie when they say, Pete, take him away. And you hear like that do-do-do-do. That I definitely see as a walkie.
I've heard this too. I've gotten there's a dude that's emailed me a couple of times and has said that shoot, who's the fighter's name? Adesanya. If they're watching the UFC fight, all the yelling and the whatever, but God, I mean, I've been to a lot of like UFC fight watch parties. I don't think any of them have ever sounded like this, where there's that much anger. It seems like, I don't know, but that is a good point. That's a great thing to at least point out, that there was a UFC fight that was going on. So it's speculated that people were watching the Fight Club of Frats, but somebody had pointed out, well, there's a UFC fight. Now, I don't know if the time lines up, because I couldn't find exactly when the main card ended or when that part of the fight would have been going on, if it would have lined up. But it's still interesting that there is a UFC fight that's going on at this this night. It was a big fight too.
You're going to hear that car is starting to rev up too. And that's what I thought initially. Maybe it was the car making that sound with that low, like electronic sounding voice changer. But as time has gone on, I don't believe that's what it is. So here is the other version. All right, so there you hear, I didn't need to protect you, amongst others. It's just a lot of information coming at you at one time. So it's hard to stick with one. At least with me, it's like that with my ADD. Like it's just, there's so much information here, a lot of different conversations, in and out of conversations.
Ooh, that's a good take, Mr. John. Okay. So again, as you guys know, if you're new to the Hive, I'm reacting in live time with you too. I swore I could hear maybe sounds of what sound. It sounded like a faint OD, like just the letters OD. Now, again, I know I've seen the comments coming in. I don't know. You guys tell me what you hear, but in the background, I thought I heard something about it. OD. Did you guys hear that? I hear she's gonna OD. Yep, and get the Narcan. I swear I just heard that shit. Wow. Or maybe not. I don't know. Go grab the can of something. I don't know.
So you hear more of that male voice from a distance. It's like he's yelling from a distance. And I don't know what people are laughing for. It could be something totally on the side, has nothing to do with it, but I highly doubt it. And some people have a nervous laugh, a nervous tick type of thing, but shit's gone too far.
That's like a freaking.
All right, this is the game with the 23. So that's not going to be the best version of that, but that's definitely the car, that low sounding car that we all have talked about. Some people think it's like a diesel V6 engine. I want to say that's during that part where you're hearing, but you hear that Peter, that's that walkie again. So let's hear what this version is.
You know, it's like they're saying, like, get the keys, where are the keys? Now, do you remember how I had said a few streams ago when I heard the like pitter patter, like flip flop pitter patter run, where I'm like, I don't know how I could tell this, but I just know that that's a female running. Like it sounds like how if my wife like runs out to the car to grab something, or if she's up north and she like runs back up the hill to grab something, it sounds like her feet, that pitter patter, which is kind of in a hurry with like flip flops on. That's what I wonder. If we couldn't hear the audio of the voice saying, go get the keys, and we just heard the, if that's what it was, maybe transpiring before.
So you heard, shut your ass up, pull over, bitch.
Yep.
So it's definitely a car.
And that just goes to show how crazy tuned she's got that audio in.
So that one you heard more clearly, it's more clear than the others. There's definitely conversation going on. It sounds like the fight is done. And people are leaving or coming. Before we're just doing up to the 23 minutes, and then we're going to go back to the beginning.
Hey, Hives, if somebody, just for the sake of time, can somebody email me the best video of Dot, so I don't have to just search it? I can just click it and then open it up to transition to that. It's been a very long time. If you guys don't know who Dot is, I will give a little bit of a explanation when we get to that point. But let's listen to a couple more minutes of this. I don't want to play the entire video. Obviously, you guys can go check it out on here's the channel, Roz Knight Squeeze. But I'm going to listen to a little bit more because I'm very curious about what else you can hear. No, I'm aware that Dot is saying that, yeah, it's fake. Dot is fake. They've discredited her. They've debunked her. I'm curious just to listen to what was said. Rather, we can address, yes, it's been deemed that it's fraud, it's fake. But I'm curious, like, if there's things that line up, or it'll make you question, because it clearly sparked a lot of conversations. So I'm very curious. That's true.
So I heard, I tore his ass up.
Yeah.
Ree got in there. He was mad. So I heard, I tore his ass up. Ree got in there. He was mad.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought too. All right. Well, it's absolutely crazy. And what did you just say, Motoman? Motoman says WSU Kim's account was supposedly fake, but her story just happened to line everything up when the phone text timelines were released that confirmed Dave's account, and these two people were said to be lying. Okay. Guys, of course they're going to discredit anybody that speaks out and would tell the truth. I'm not claiming that they're true or that they're fake. But what I'm saying is it's not that big of a stretch to think that if there were people that actually spoke out about it, they're for sure going to be debunked and discredited and anything else you can imagine. I mean, they do it to people that just want to speculate and talk about it, and they want to theorize on it. Shit, if you were there, you guarantee that they're going to be coming for you and definitely going to discredit your story. AI can absolutely help decoding noises, which often falls under the umbrella of sound recognition. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd be very curious to see an AI decoded transcript of this. That would be very interesting. Yeah, a lot of people are saying, yeah, exactly. You know, that's my point. And a lot of people are saying, yeah. Yes, and I agree. I'm actually, even after I get done streaming, I'm gonna go finish watching the rest of this. So again, go to Roz's channel, give him some love. Great work on that. That audio is incredible. So I don't know how long that type of stuff takes to do, but it's very well done. Good job. Now, here are the last of the Hive Mind finds. I still have a lot of them, or a couple of them to go through. This is crazy because there's a lot of discrepancies in the photos. So if you look at this, I zoomed in on this. How are these different? You have 2022, then you have 2025. Like nothing is the same. Nothing's even close. Like it's not even close to being the same. The chip bag's gone. You guys saw last night the solo cups are flipped in positions. You know, and in the photo that I showed last night, I mean, this is the right wall with the vent right there. It's just it got cut off in this photo, but this one's crazy. Like the plant is not tipped over, the dirt is cleaned up. There's no cup, the bag's gone. It's very, very odd. So, whoa. So somebody just said Birdie Dot popped in twice on Outcast within the last week or so. It was painful and hung up anytime a direct question was asked. Just whined about how hard done by they are. What does that mean? I think WSU mom's in our Discord. I really do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Please do, Claire. Please do send that. Thank you so much. Yeah. If you know, you know. And I'm not gonna out it. I don't know if it is. So I'm not even gonna say it or speculate, but if it is, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, speaking of the Discord, there's a link. So I mean, you got some discrepancies here. Now, here are a couple other ones. I've never noticed this one right here. This is pretty crazy. Well, I'll finish with the sink. So in 2022, the photo of the plant, the ice coffee cup with straw, the soap pump in the sink area and kitchen. Now in 2025, the same plant, ice coffee cup with the straw, and the soap pump is now on the kitchen table. That is very weird. I don't get what they're doing with these photos. They're different. So now I want you guys to look at this right here. This is crazy. Full screen. Okay. Look down here. Okay. That does look like a knife sitting right there. You can see the point of it right here. And you see it right here too. So, right, I just don't get how they're different. Did they recreate the photos, or did they move stuff around and like take it after they grabbed other evidence and they're technically taken at two different times, but it doesn't, I don't know. Yeah. It's just, who knows? Somebody said, yeah, it is a big knife. It is a knife. It was the knife Hunter Johnson. Oh, it was S put down. Yeah. Good call out for sure. Well, there's a knife here. There's knives everywhere. Christ. So I have a tinfoil hat conspiracy today about weather manipulation. That, again, just for the sake of when I go back and I edit and I cut down the long form streams into shorter videos, I like to do this. And then if we do a live dig on anything, which I do want to look up Dot before the stream's over, but it is interesting how a lot of people will think that weather manipulation doesn't exist, even though they can do it in a controlled experiment in a controlled environment. Now, in 1966, the U.S. has planning documents that were undeniably successful, and field commanders believed more rain slowed trucks and created attackable choke points when it came to battle and in war. So later, the DoD review said state of the art was minimal, and isolating the seeding signal from natural monsoon chaos was too risky, meaning that there's no way to see how devastating or not devastating it would be unless you did it at scale. It was too successful to test. They couldn't precisely control how much rain or how far the seeded clouds would drift. They had a crazy whiplash of policy after the press expose, Pentagon and NSC scramble. Within a few years, there was treaty bans on weather warfare. And so I thought this was relatively relevant because as of last night, I was in like a flash flood where we got a month and a half worth of rain. In I don't know if Mrs. Birdie's watching this, whatever they had said. I'm not even joking. Here, I'll show you guys this picture. This is just crazy. Dude, this is the parking garage. It's up past the first level of the parking garage, the water. You can see the bus sign. It's almost up to the top of that bus sign right there. Crazy. I've never seen anything like it. So I started thinking like, oh shit, maybe they're controlling the weather. Who knows what that would be for? But yeah, thank you so much, K Wolf. And luckily we got out of there. My truck wasn't there. I would have been pissed because there's a lot of cars that were effed up on that first level, and we were parked on the first level. So there was people at the state fair swimming at the state fair. That's how high the water was. They shut down the state fair, and I don't believe that they're reopening it. I could be wrong, but it was closed today. And Aubrey was like, I cannot imagine how dirty water at a Wisconsin state fair is in the barns. Okay. Where the cows are, where the pigs are, where all the it's like the farm animals, all that shit and hay and no, you couldn't pay me enough to swim in that. Hell no. So that was crazy. Did anybody by chance email me Dot's thing? Oh, Nick, that's disgusting. Oh, did somebody? Oh, Jennifer, I just saw your emails. This is good. I'm going to put these in on tomorrow's stream. Jennifer just sent me an AI decoded message of all of the audio on that phone, or on that, not that phone, on that video we just saw. Yeah, they were swimming for fun back. Like, that's how quick the water came down. It's crazy. So I'm going to try to look up Dot's video. Oh, True Crime Design has one. Here we go.
So I can kind of figure out. I don't know if people are aware of.
So before I play this, again, this has been supposedly debunked. I get it, but I'm just curious. I want to hear what was said. It's interesting. It's very thought-provoking. That's what we do here in the Hive. And again, thank you everybody for tuning in on this Sunday evening. It's been a great stream so far, and let's see what Dot said, and let's see why she was discredited, or if anything that she said might hold some weight, knowing what we know now. I haven't listened to this in probably a year. This came out 2 years ago.
The fact that there were at least two of the people, they were mutilated. I don't know what I can say. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but I can say that they were. It was not like somebody had a butcher knife or anything like that. Like, the wounds were equivalent to something that was much like huge gaping wounds. Not like
maybe like a machete.
Like I'm talking like if you think about being a hunter and if you think about a deer and all that, if you can go through that process in your head, like it was to that equivalent, if not worse, like wounds. So it's not just like a stabbing situation. It was really like something very sinister.
How do you know that? How do you know that? If I
well, I know from Dylan.
So
he told me from what Hunter knew.
I'll go back so you guys can read that. Since another witness has bravely come forward, Dot claims to have been partying next door on the night of the murder. She also knows Dylan Mortensen personally. The following is clipped from a call-in live stream hosted by the Evil CJ show on July 31st. This is edited for brevity and clarity. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get a copyright strike for whatever the background music is, but I will play it anyways, and this might be edited out in the short version tomorrow, just so you guys all know. Please come to your own conclusions. What an epic one-liner before you play it.
What really triggered me to want to reach out is that there's all this stuff that was coming up about the Linda Lane footage and if it was real or not real. And I know from what I seen personally that it is real. And there's so much misinformation and it's scary. It's really scary because
that is scary.
It is very scary because what I seen, what I've seen, that footage is real. The audio, I can't say everything, because I don't know everything, but I can say from what I've seen, the footage is real and it's getting to a point where people are lying back and forth. And I thought maybe that I could, by speaking, that I maybe could give some validity to something. And I guess I didn't think that people maybe not believe me or, I got there before 10 o'clock and I hung out there. We were playing beer pong. We were playing games. We left at like a little after 1:30 to go get more alcohol. And then we came back and then I was there. I fell asleep maybe around 3:30.
Exactly
I woke
what I
up
picture
in the morning.
Moscow
I woke up
looking like
around
inside at a party.
Maybe about 8:15. The latest, maybe 8:30. And I smoke cigarettes, so I went outside to the balcony to smoke a cigarette because we don't smoke in the apartment. And I seen 5 people outside in the backyard area of the house. There was 3 males and 2 females. One of the males was like very pale and had light colored hair. There was a black male. There was another guy that I had never really even seen before that was kind of just like had his hoodie up. I believe I seen Dylan out there. The apartments that I was at, there was a balcony, and if you go to the right of the balcony, the house is literally like next to my shoulder on the right hand side. So it's like
there's the apartment.
Oh, that house.
It's literally there, and we had a lot of people there.
Okay.
Yeah, we were partying just like an average night. We had a lot of people in the apartment. partied all the time. There was always ruckus going on through the neighborhood. You know, for the most part, I never really seen or heard anything that was really strange up until like about 3 a.m. But in the morning, I remember seeing Dylan because I know Dylan, she's taller, so I can kind of pick her out. And I know Emma was there, and Emma's friend, and there was a guy that was also like I said, really pale. I wasn't sure who he was, with light colored hair. And there was another guy that had a hoodie on that I couldn't identify. But they were all just literally passing a joint around because they would wake up and smoke, and they were just all smoking. Like, I would have never guessed anything happened at that house when I woke up that morning until I found out later. I didn't leave until like 1:30, but I would have never guessed that anything happened because they were just out smoking like normal, like nothing had happened. Well, at like 3 a.m., a little bit after 3 a.m., this was before I went to bed. We were supposed to, in the apartment that I was at the party, we were supposed to go on the balcony to smoke. We were not supposed to like smoke weed or even cigarettes inside, but some people didn't listen to the people that resided at the apartment, so they would smoke inside anyway. So they would crack like 2 of the windows, like on the right hand side of the apartment, and when they did crack the windows to get the breeze in, to get the smoke out, like there was a lot of stuff that went on it. Like around a little bit after 3, there were a couple of things that I heard that were really disturbing, but I was drunk and I just said, like, in my head, I was like, you know what? It's probably something really stupid and I'm just overanalyzing it, you know? Like, in my head, I didn't think, like, oh, there is something of emergency. When I look back on it now, like, it literally tears me up inside because I'm like, could I have done more? Could I have, like, did I just bypass something, you know? But it was like it was a scream. There was one scream. It was it literally like it sounded like somebody was being mauled by a bear. Like, it was like.
When you heard
when
that?
Did you hear that? When did you hear that?
This was a little bit after 3 a.m. But you know, there's a lot of times that screams go on at parties, like really for weird reasons, you know.
So I actually real quick, that was the Banfield. There was somebody sent me a video today that was talking about that Banfield body cam, and it actually is not that people were not running by. This person had the original body cam. They did go by, but they were walking. And this creator explained how the zoom in makes it look like they're running, but when they don't zoom in, you can see that they're just walking. So I don't know if a lot of people knew that or not. I thought that was an interesting point. But it's the zoom that makes it look like they're running. But you could see when they don't do all this shit with the circle that they're walking.
Like, really for weird reasons, you know. And so in my head, I want to just tell myself, okay, well, this is a little weird, but even if I thought it was, you know, something maybe to think about, I'm at a party with a bunch of people and we were smoking weed and we were drinking, and there were people that were doing illegal drugs, and you know what I mean? Like, if I would have called the police, I would have gotten everybody at the party in trouble too. I had like so many things weighing in my head. Like, if I had done that, and even if I did, I have to tell an officer, like, hey, I'm drunk, but I heard this scream. Like, is he even going to believe me? Like, I was really backed into a corner. So, but now that I think of it, like, it bothers me because I remember that scream, and it was not a normal scream. It was we were playing a game called Two Truths and a Lie, and we were playing beer pong too as well. And I had a friend that went on Instagram Live. It was like 22 minutes she was on, and like 18 of those minutes we were in the apartment, just like our music was blaring, like all that stuff. There was maybe like about 2 minutes when we were outside and we were recording it, and you know, you can hear something. I don't know if it was something related. You can hear some stuff around 3 o'clock. We had heard they were trying to find.
It's such a great point. What is there to be debunked thus far? She's really just saying that she lives next to him. She was going to go outside and smoke, saw them outside smoking in the morning, didn't think anything happened. Everything that we just heard on that audio with Demetrius, with Emma. So is it rebunked?
Murphy. They were trying to find the dog. But I remember they were calling for the dog. I don't know if the dog was missing, but I remember there was like, I don't know if it was Ethan, but somebody was whistling. A male was whistling for the dog. They were looking for the dog at like 3 a.m.
So her timeline is off, or is the timeline that we've been given off? It's a valid question. I'm starting to wonder if that's really what it is.
Was that before or after you heard the scream that you said you heard?
It was before the scream.
Before. It would have to be, before.
Just whistling, but we knew Murphy because when I would party over there, sometimes Murphy would get out and, you know, and we kind of knew the dog just as like, you know, a neighbor dog. So when we would hear stuff like that, we just presumed that because nobody else really had a dog over there.
Oh, so are you saying that the person who was claiming to be Dot was not Dot? This is a third party retelling of the story, rather? So the debunking is not necessarily the context of what was said, but rather who said it. Am I understanding that correctly?
I have been in contact with Ann Taylor, her team of people, and I gave her my friend gave her the Instagram, the 22 minutes of that night, and I've been in contact with her, and everything that I've expressed right now, I've expressed to Ann. We haven't really divulged on like getting deeper and deeper into it, but I've expressed these things to her, and she wants me to actually physically go there to where I was and to show where I was in that time frame and what angle of things that I've seen. And I've been terrified to do so because I'm worried that somebody's going to be filming and they're going to film me and see me. She said we could do it at really late at night.
Yeah, but you can.
There's so much more that I do know, you know, and things that have gone on, but it's like telling my side. I get a couple of people that believe me, and there's a lot of people that don't. And I understand. I have reached out to the proper people.
How are they not taking you seriously?
So you said you have talked to the FBI too?
I have talked with anybody and everybody that I can talk to that would hear my story, that could do anything for that. I have spoken, I have shown, you know, that I was at the apartment that night. I have shown documentations that I was a student there. You know, I have given proof, and despite doing that, I still don't feel like they have taken me seriously because nothing has happened from that. I mean, they've listened to me. Despite doing that, I still don't feel like they have taken me seriously because nothing has happened from that. I mean, they've listened to me, but nobody has like looked at other evidence or anything. They're just going with this like Brian situation, you know? I know, like, I was somebody that did drugs.
No, I don't think this would clear Brian's name by any means. I would not bet that what's being said is this. I would say that the thing that I believe, again, if Brian's innocent, I'm saying this in the context of assuming he's not the murderer, which I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that Brian Koberger could have committed this crime by what we've seen with timestamps, with the undercover, like plainclothes police officers being suspect vehicle 1, and with the police reports that have come out. I believe any reasonable jury would have found reasonable doubt. 100%. Not this call. I don't think this call affects it. I don't even know if the audio necessarily does anything exculpatory other than show there was a lot of other shit going on that would make more sense of a motive than some guy who he didn't pick the house until the last second and he went in there and he pulled off like I've said, a Jason Bourne timeline.
Like a lot of my friends did. And there was a lot of things with drugs related in the area. And there was a lot of, animosity towards.
Are you saying that we have nothing to stand on as far as the 1 hour, 7 minute, 26-second delta that proves that suspect vehicle 1 is not an Elantra and that it's a silver Ford Fusion, as said in the police report by Payne, who then goes and checks to see if it looks tan underneath the streetlight? That Molly said that she saw a guy who looks exactly like Tesdale and the other undercover police officer, and they knew it, and that's why Payne went out and checked it. So I would bet money on that. Yeah, I bet my own money on that for sure.
A whole different type of stuff that went on with that. So I personally think just my personal opinion, that it had something to do with Kaylee leaving and them not being happy with her leaving because she still had to continue, what they asked her to do in regards to, the drug situation. They were very upset that she was going to leave and move away and not be a part of it anymore. That's kind of where I think some of it transpired, but that's.
So you think she was the target, the initial target?
I think they were mad. Yeah, I think they were really mad. They found out she was going to be there that night when she, and they were really mad because she was going to be going away and she was a part of helping them, and aiding in their efforts, and so she was really moving away was a big thing for them. But there was a lot of stuff that was going on with the frat and Jack, and there was drama. There's so many different things that could be a possibility, but none of them that ever came to my mind was Brian ever, because I never had seen him. As they said, they said we appreciate leads and stuff, but that they kind of already had what they needed and they didn't really need any further information.
That's crazy.
Yeah, their agenda.
And I know people say like, well, why would you give this information? And honestly, I've been comfortable giving the information because there's so much speculation. 90% of the people don't believe me. Anyway, right. Even like, and I'm being real when I say this right now, there are so many people that aren't even going to believe me. So that works to my advantage. Even though I've seen what I've seen, there's a lot of people that will discredit me or say, no, you can't say it's because I was intoxicated and all that stuff. They really kind of threw that out when, like, I expressed to them, like, we were all drunk, a lot of us were high, and I was very honest with them. It's really hard. It's really hard, like, especially like reading the comments. Like, it's really hard to list, like, to hear people say things and to. It's really difficult. It's really difficult to, hear people, just think, that I would make something. I don't want to be involved with any of this. I never wanted to be affiliated with any of this. The only reason why I reached out for my story was because I have heard so many different things, and I wanted to be a voice of reason in the sense that I wanted to give somebody a perspective of something that was actually of substance of what was going on and what I knew and what I had to say to help the people that are trying to help this case. I don't want any recognition. I don't want any attention. I don't care after this if anybody ever contacts me again. I'm not about any of that. I just, I see people's work and how hard they try to work to solve this, and I'm like, you know what, if I'm able to tell a little bit of what happened, and that maybe could be something that could help anybody else you investigate, then I feel like I kind of made it right, because I should have maybe called at 3 a.m. when I heard what I heard, but I didn't. So I feel like I'm making it right by doing that. But I don't want any recognition. I don't want any, I don't want any of that.
Well, again, judge for yourself, come to your own conclusions, as True Crime Design had said right before she played that interview. And wow, I mean, guys, look, here is the thing that I just want to point out. There is real evidence that Brian Kohberger was not suspect vehicle 1, and that it was the silver Ford Fusion that was like the hybrid that we saw in the Banfield body cam footage. I would highly recommend going and checking out Sherlock Rome's video. He does an extremely in-depth breakdown, or if you go to my channel under the live tab, Sherlock Rome's came on the stream on Friday night and crushed it and explained it, talking about all of these deltas. And I get asked a lot, what does delta mean? Delta is the difference in time, or it's the like the totality of time missing over an extended period of time. So like when the camera has missing bits and pieces of time, all those added up together is a delta, or the difference between when an event actually occurred versus what the camera is showing also could be considered a delta. So Sherlock breaks down exactly how he found it. He was testing J.M. Bree's theory. So that's how, that's how real investigation works. You listen to Sherlock on the stream when he was on there Friday. And one of the things that I really respect about what he says, I'd ask him, I'm like, what made you want to question this? And he goes, well, I wanted to see if Pavarotti's theory had any weight. And I go, oh, really? He's like, yeah, I thought he was an idiot. I wanted to see if it was true. And you could tell it was a friendly banter back and forth, but that's how real investigation works. It's like, all right, let's play this out. You are saying this is what you're saying. I'm going to test it. And then boom, Sherlock starts to test it. And he's like, wait, but there's variables. There's little variables about like, okay, you got to drive here, or maybe you got to account for the time where you sit down in your seat and, you buckle your seatbelt, then you're going to pull out, put it in park and drive or back out and then go forward. Like, it's absolutely incredible how many variables that Sherlock was able to piece together down to the second. And it makes a lot of sense. So go check that out. And like I said, at the end of the day, there was 100% reasonable doubt. If this would have gone to a jury, when it goes to a jury, I do believe that, like I've said, I don't think that he's going to appeal. I was talking with Dawn in the Discord at this point. If Kohberger doesn't at least submit an appeal, that shit's criminal at this point. I feel like there's enough out there where any reasonable attorney would advise their client, hey, rather than just take the plea and sit in prison for something you're saying you didn't commit, there's a really good chance that the body cam and the timestamps are off by a 7-minute and 26-second delta, which we called out in court. And you probably could create reasonable doubt in jury's minds, especially if he's truly innocent. So it's just crazy. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at. It literally can't be Brian. It cannot be Brian. And as I've stated, if you get rattled or offended on behalf of others when people think past the simple headlines, this isn't going to be the stream for you, but I would encourage you to, you know, maybe try to challenge yourself and stay and listen and read the chats as it go through, because, you know, you got that dude on News Nation. I kind of went on a rant about it. He's like, he thinks it's disgusting that people want full transparency. And that's where I said, well, full transparency in the things that would make sense for the public to have full transparency to. If there's an argument to be made that a parent doesn't want crime scene photos of their child murdered released to the entire world, or certain aspects of that autopsy not released publicly, there is a real argument that people would respect that and agree with. However, the investigation needs full transparency, because whether or not maybe these families feel like they got the truth or they didn't get the truth, other people have asked a ton of questions about it. And I believe that having full transparency into the investigation from day one is the only way it can be. Because if there's a mistake in the investigation and it's open source with full transparency, it allows the public to come in and correct it. And then it also gives the police an out to say, thank you so much to the members of the public who are interested in these things that are going on in their community. They helped correct it. They got the right person off the street, or people off the street who committed these heinous acts. And people need to know what to look for. Like, God forbid this ever happens to them. They're going to know, okay, well, body cams might be in UTC time, or they might be in local time. Is there daylight savings at any point? Okay. Were there any patrols that were, you know, undercover that would be in plain clothes that would be looking for open intoxicants? It's a college town. There's probably a lot of underage drinkers. Maybe the suspect vehicle one, that's their classic and normal route that they're going to do. It's not a vulture passing of Brian Koberger. So I do believe that the full transparency into the process of the investigation is a must. And the way that they've just been releasing little bits and pieces and crumbs, you know, even like now the photos that they've released, things are different in the photos than they were in 2022, 2025. I don't know why. And, you know, okay. Yeah. Thank you. So they did adjust. So that means that their body cams were not UTC time. They were daylight savings time. And again, if I read the Motorola BWC2 manual, which is the model body cams that they have, you do have the option. Now, Sherlock, I don't know if you need to look into this. I said it Friday when we chatted, but when they log it into the evidence library, typically the evidence library then converts it to UTC and would store that in the EL as UTC. Now, I'm not sure if that's where the police reports, if they type their reports in that evidence library and it standardizes it automatically all to the same time zone, because that is something that the NIST highly, highly, highly recommends, so that there's not confusion over what true time is. That's why all body cams store in UTC, if that makes sense. So I hope everybody has a great rest of their Sunday evening. And with that, Hive, I will be back on tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Central, with Devil's Advocates. I will see you there. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.